hello to Justin and to Jordan. I decided to do a quick screen capture of modules 2 and 3 just to make sure I have all the information right here so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about, as opposed to writing it all down and then it might not be clear what I'm referring to. So Module 2 is all about close reading. Remember, Module 1 was about the sort of surface reading, literal reading of a text. Module 2 is all about analysis. I talked about it in the screen capture I did, so I won't go into big detail here. But just a reminder, they do have active reading strategies. It's approaches to a text, how to really dig into a text. So they spell it out here. And then they talk about context, which is basically the what's going on when a work is written, either in the author's life, in the world around them, the situation in which they're writing it. Basically, purpose is why they're writing it. Audiences, they're in for whom they're writing it, the intended folks. And so it goes into good detail there, explaining what each of those is. And then every author has a certain style, how they write. And so this part gets into the nitty-gritty of style. It talks about style in general, the way the author writes, like Tolkien, for example, uses a lot of details. And some people love it. Some people, like me, get bogged down. I have a hard time picturing it because there's just so much. Versus a Hemingway who's less about every little detail. So that's style. Diction is word choice. Tone is the author's attitude towards the subject matter, mostly. And style also could be APA, MLA for formatting your paper. But you can read through all that. But the first assignment that you want to tackle is after this part on tone and diction. It's a guided analysis, a graded activity. So the oh, there is no link there. Hold on just a moment. Going back to Module 2, I don't know why it wasn't there. So for the guided analysis, it's not something that I grade. It's a completion grade, and so you just want to make sure that you do it, because if you do it and you do it completely, you're going to get a really good grade on it. So I'll quickly get to that. These are all the pages that I just scrolled through. I downloaded it as a PDF thinking that would expedite things, but I didn't realize that the links weren't going to be active in the PDF. I thought it would be a hyperlinked document. So there's all of the stuff. There's an exercise here on graded activity. I recommend doing it. It doesn't take long, and it does help set you up for the 2-4 activity. So I recommend doing it, but I'll leave that up to you because it is ungraded. But getting down to the graded assignment. Oh, and then there's also this part here, an adaptive learning. I recommend again doing this because it'll set you up well for the graded activity, which is hopefully on the next page if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there it is, guided analysis. So for the guided analysis, you're going to engage in pre-reading inquiry, which is just thinking about a text before you even sink into it. You're going to take notes as you read. You're going to make connections, connections to self, to other texts, to just whatever your mind thinks of as you are reading. Summarize the text, capturing the overall gist of the text in your own words, and then applying what you've learned. So they have you do it for this article, Turning Off Dining In. So you want to engage in pre-reading inquiry, meaning think about that title. What do you think the article is going to be about? And then you want to look at this part here. Oftentimes the blurb that they give before a work. Gives you some really nice pre-reading material to get into. That helps to set the context, or helps you know, gives you insight into how the reader might approach the subject. So you read through that after you've engaged in pre-reading activity. Take notes, just like it says up here. Then you're going to make connections as you read, and then summarize the text in your own words when you're done. And then finally, as it says right here, apply what you've learned. So it's not a super long article. It looks longer than it really is. So you read through it. You can look at the works cited, see what you can glean from that. It's often interesting. You might see, several sources listed by an author of a piece, but you notice that one is used maybe more heavily than others. I like to think about that and ask myself why did they heavily focus on this one here, and to think about, was it a good idea or bad. But that is besides the point. So type your answers in the text box below and click submit to view your sample responses. This activity is based on completion, so complete it, and you'll do well. What is the context of turning off dining in? So that's the situation, the stuff going on, anything that's about that time in which it was written. Summarize the author's purpose for writing the article in one sentence. So nice, just one sentence. Look back and try to find the actual sentences where the author states his or her main point. You would write them here. And then identify one area in the text in which the author supports her main point. So you're gonna state your purpose, which is usually like the claim that the author's trying to prove. Here, sentences that actually state that led you to believe that was her purpose. Here is going to be some details that she's using to kind of back up the position she's taken in the piece. It doesn't have to be a controversial position. Sometimes it's a kind of a lesson or something like that. And then how would you describe the author's style and tone? And they provide a sample analysis after it. So if you're not entirely clear after that brief explanation by me, and after reading the module, then you would look here for some additional supports. And so once you've completed that, of course, you move on, and you also need to complete the journal activity. So importance of analysis. The journal activity is private between your instructor, me, and you. So it's not like the discussion forum where everybody can see it. This week you've learned about active reading and analysis by looking more closely at a selected reading. In doing so, you uncovered ideas in turning off dining in the article that may have been difficult to identify during your literal reading of the text. So if you're just reading to get the facts about, like, what colored pants did Bob wear, or that's literal reading. Active reading is questioning the text, engaging the text, making connections. And that allows you to get into insight into why is the author even writing about this? What are they trying to accomplish? So to prepare for this assignment, please reread the selected article and your notes. Your selected article. Again, your selected article is the key here. You guys chose either Some Lessons from the Assembly Line, Me Talk Pretty One Day, or Mother Tongue. So it's referring to that article. Reread the article, and then using a Word document, answer the following questions. So part of it isn't actually a question. It's a directive. So discuss the context of your selected article, the author's purpose, and the style and tone. What have you learned from this early analysis? So here you want to be as specific as you can. You don't want to just gloss over everything saying the author's purpose is blah. You want to try to really get at, just like the 2.4 activity, get at what in the text draws you to these conclusions. What in the text makes you think that it makes you say that their style is this or their tone is that. So you want to back up what you say as much as you can with some textual details, and then an explanation of how those details drew you to the conclusion that you drew in the end. And then how will the closer analysis of the author's claim and the structure of the writing help you learn more about the selected reading? And now that you have discussed the author's purpose for writing the selected reading, do you think the author's writing is effective in achieving their purpose? This part here, along with the other parts, but this part here is important because you're going to have to ultimately write a paper in which you lay out the claim and how it's developed, or the author's purpose and how they try to achieve that purpose in the article. But you're going to decide in the end whether or not you think that it was effectively done. So this part here, do take time to think about it because it is it's a good chunk of your paper. And then here it just gives you a guideline for how long it should be, how to save it, the format it should have as far as font goes. And then right here is the rubric that I will use to assess it. So that is the 2 assignments from Module 2. So you want to also look at Module 3, which is applying analysis. So that Module 2 is the how-to. Module 3 is really putting it into action. And so it tells you about your critical analysis essay. This is the paper that you're going to ultimately write. Rough draft Module 5, final draft due, I believe, at the end of Module 7. That's when it's been due in past terms, and I don't think they've changed that. So really, I encourage you to really read this page closely because not just for this class, but for English 123 and so many other classes, the stuff they talk about in here is going to come back and help you or hurt you if you don't kind of internalize it. But just do yourselves a favor, internalize it, and start to really develop a mastery of it, and it's going to help you for the rest of your degree. And if you choose to go on to a graduate degree, this stuff still applies. So consider taking some time on this part here. Now, the first assignment that you guys need to do is the 3.2 or 3-2 assignment writing plan. Now, the writing plan is very similar to the journal that you did for that you will have done for Module 2. Do these assignments in the sequence I'm laying them out. So if we look right at Module 3, because again the links are not in the PDF, so I have to go back in to the module itself to open it up. But you'll notice that the writing plan is it's just the next step in the writing notes, the journal in Module 2, and then now rewriting plan. You'll see the same thing in English 123 if they don't. I don't think they'll change the course anytime soon. So, oh, sugar, I picked the wrong one. Bear with me. So let's go to Module 3. That's where we. Okay, let's go to Module 3. Sorry about that. Module 3. Fantastic. All right. So, looking for the assignment for 3-2 again, it is very similar to what I just discussed. So read through the module, especially the parts that I really pointed your attention to. The critical analysis essay itself, the preview of what that's going to be like, and then the pointers that they give you. So this is this spells out the writing plan, and so basically you want to have each of these sections covered in your essay. So the assignment below will ask you to consider the following critical elements and how they relate to the selected reading. So the author's claim, which gives you a definition if you scroll over it. Key points, those are the kind of sub-claims that the author is trying to develop in order to prove their overall claim. The audience, your evaluation of the author's argument. Again, like I said last for Module 2, this is a good chunk of the paper. Evidence, so what from the text makes you say the things that you say. feedback, how you'll use feedback to make your paper stronger, and then revision. What revision strategies do you envision yourself using? So you'll need a copy of your article, and then it goes into how to construct your writing plan. An overview. So the first final project of this course is a writing plan. The writing plan will guide you through the first steps. So it gives you the prompt, and down here it phrases each of these into either directives or 2 questions. So it says each response should be 1 fully developed paragraph in length. Specifically, the following critical elements must be addressed. So, you can tell based on there being 5 numbers that you need at least 5 fully developed paragraphs to really potentially hit this assignment right on the head. Again, these are the indicators of proficient, needs improvement, not evident, and it's exactly how I'm going to assess your writing plan when you submit it. So that will take a bit of time. Don't be overwhelmed by it. If you feel overwhelmed, just take it 1 paragraph at a time. Write a paragraph, take a break, come back to it. The temperature check is actually a nice, quick way to end the module. So in Module 2, the 2.2-4 activity is a completion activity. Complete it, you'll do very well. Here, it's a temperature check, so it says you must pass this test in order to successfully complete this course. Now, you have 5 questions, but you get 2 attempts. So just make sure you're really confident about your answers, because there's nothing worse than, well, there are many things worse, but it's frustrating to, you fill these out, think you have it right, but you do it a little too quickly, and all of a sudden you only get 3 out of 5 right, and then you start to panic and you switch all the answers up, and then it might turn out well, it might not turn out well. Whereas if you pump the brakes initially, take your time, hopefully you can get 100% the first time, but if not, you do have that second attempt to try to get it right. So those are the 4 assignments that you guys want to, I would encourage you to, as best you can, get them done between now and Friday. So during the weekend, you can really focus on the current module and go into next week being all caught up and feeling good. All right, so that is what you guys need to do. I will see you guys Thursday.